The good news, a third approved vaccine courtesy of Johnson & Johnson has now arrived in Oklahoma. The bad news, and really it's not bad because it reveals a strong statewide desire to be vaccinated. People who are eligible are having a difficult time booking an appointment to get their shots. Reporter Rory Taylor has some information that can help.
If you access the state's vaccine portal to make an appointment, you'll see a lot of this. Appointments all booked up. If you do get an appointment, you might be traveling a few counties over to receive the vaccine. Longtime Oklahoma City pastor Ralph Ranney was able to find an appointment with the help of his daughter.
She kept looking and looking until she finally found a place for Shirley, my wife Shirley, and I to go to, to have our vaccine. So that was wonderful. And but we had to go all the way to Duncan, Oklahoma.
When it came time for the second dose, the drive wasn't much better.
This time it's Anadarko that came up. So there again, we're a long way to go.
Dr. Douglas Drevitz, the chief of infectious diseases at OU Health, expects things to improve as the federal government continues to increase the amount of vaccine dedicated to Oklahoma.
I think it's a mismatch between supply and demand, and it's an attempt to try to get the vaccine to every place in Oklahoma, even though that may not completely match the local population.
People are signing up for vaccine just as fast as the state receives it. There are limited appointments each week, but the number of available appointments will grow with the addition of a new vaccine approved for emergency use.
We received the exciting news this weekend that Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine has received FDA emergency use authorization. You'll also hear this vaccine referred to as the Janssen vaccine.
The Janssen vaccine was developed using a different technology than the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, but that different technology makes it easier to store and transport.
It is shipped frozen, but is allowed to thaw, and it is stable in the refrigerator for quite some time. And so that makes it much more easy to distribute out to standard physicians' offices, health clinics, and that. You don't need ultra cold or dry ice.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine also only requires a single shot.
A one-shot vaccine is useful to reach populations in more remote, rural areas, or to reach people in circumstances that make returning for a second dose difficult due to lack of transportation access or health conditions that might limit travel. We expect to receive 31,500 doses in the first shipment of the Janssen vaccine. This shipment should arrive sometime later this week. We expect the first doses of this new vaccine to be administered shortly thereafter.
This is all great news, and more doses mean more appointments. But how does the new vaccine measure up to the current vaccine's high prevention rates?
The J&J vaccine was studied in 3 different continents: North America, South America and Mexico, and then South Africa. And as you all probably know, there are different variants of viruses circulating in each of those areas. So in North America, the vaccine was about, I think, 72 to 73% effective at preventing all COVID infections.
The Janssen vaccine was slightly less effective at preventing infection from the new variants of the COVID virus on other continents, but more importantly, it kept people alive.
Everybody focuses on this 66% effective overall, but flip it around. It was almost 100% effective against death.
This vaccine is shown to be 85% effective against severe COVID-19. None of the participants among the ones that were in the study had to be hospitalized. There were no deaths in that group. That group was large. It was 44,000 people worldwide that participated in this.
Other vaccines were tested before some virus variants had emerged, making the vaccines hard to directly compare. But bringing down hospitalizations and deaths is essential to a return to normalcy. And with that extra 30,000 doses, vaccinations should continue to accelerate.
What's coming in now was 144,740 doses. You look a week ahead, they told us to expect 156,900 doses. You look one more week after that, they're talking about 161,580 doses.
And that's just Pfizer and Moderna, with the extra Janssen doses only being predicted a week out right now. There's also promise of more Pfizer and Moderna on the horizon. This Monday, Pfizer's chief scientific officer spoke at a virtual event held by OSU.
Our immediate goals are, of course, to continue ramping up production. We've gone from the original projection of 1.3 billion doses produced this year to 2 billion doses. And then in time now, but We have a network of manufacturing sites across the US and Europe that are working together to increase production.
So if you haven't succeeded in securing an appointment yet, stay patient. President Biden says this week he expects every American who wants the vaccine to have it by May. Rory Taylor, The Oklahoma News Report.
Rory, thanks. And if you haven't registered yet, and it's an easy process that doesn't take long, just log on to vaccinate.oklahoma.gov.